Hi everyone. So today we are going to do an introduction to algebra tiles. On the screen you see some different shapes. The circles that you see are called constants. Constants represent numbers. A constant cannot change its value. The yellow constants are positive integers and the red constants are negative numbers. Down below, we have a different shape. We have rectangles. These are called variables. Variables are numbers that are represented by a letter. This is an unknown value. When you think of variables, think of this as our focus. The variable is like a puzzle, and what we want to figure out with using algebra is we want to figure out exactly what number the variable represents. So when we're working with algebra tiles, we already said that our yellow circle tiles are positives and our red tiles are negatives. And these are our regular constants, our regular numbers. So let's say I wanted to model the number -4. What I would do is I would take 4 negative constants. So the model for -4 is 4 red circles, again because the reds are negative. Now, if I wanted to model 2 positive x's, the green tiles are positive and the red tiles are negative. Notice how they are a different shape. The reason they're a different shape is because we're talking about a different kind of value. In this value, we're talking about variables. So 2 positive variables are represented by 2 positive rectangles. All right, let's continue. Okay, so let's take a look at the examples that I have here on the board. The first one is +5. So since the 5 is just a number by itself, I'm going to use my constants. And I'm going to use 5 positive constants. And that's how I would model +5. The next example is -2x. -2x is a variable. So I wouldn't use the circles, I would use the rectangles. And since it's negative, I would use 2 negative rectangles. And that's how I would model -2x. The next example is +3. Now, since there is not a letter, that means that these are constants. So I would take 3 positive constants in order to model this number. Okay, the last example is 5 positive x's. So again, since this is a variable, this is a letter, I'm not going to use the circles, I'm going to use the rectangles. And since it's positive, that means that I need 5 positive rectangles. Oops, I think I'm going to run out of space. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry, kind of ran out of space right there. But 5 positive rectangles make my 5 variables. Okay, so now let's look at what happens when we have a combination of variables and constants. So in this first example, we have 2 x's, and then we have +3. So that means 3 positives. So I'm going to take 2 of my positive x's, and I'm going to take 3 of my positive variables. Sorry, my positive constants. And that is how I would model 2x plus 3. In the second example, I have 3 negative variables. So I'm going to pick my red tiles because those are the ones that mean negative. And then I have 5 positive constants. So I'm going to take 5 positive constants. And that's how I would model negative 3x's and then 5 plus 5. All right, let's look at this. In these next examples, I have 4 negative variables. Remember, my variables are the rectangles, so I'm going to take 4 of them. There's 2, there's 3, and then 4 variables. And then I have negative 2 constants, so that's the little circles. So that's how I would model 4 negative variables and 2 negative constants. All right, let's look at one last example. I have negative 2 variables and 6 negative constants. So I'm going to take 2 negative variables and 6 negative constants. So a big part of this unit is just understanding what all of the different pieces mean. As we move into our next lesson on adding and subtracting integers, we will continue to use these algebra tiles in order to build our understanding of that concept. Thank you for watching.